Hello, everyone. So, on request, many of you guys who are on category one have been asking me to do more videos. So, going to continue on the series that I started about the veil burner and karmic detourer. So, part three is on collision and catalyst. So, when your worlds first touch. So, we are actually going to go deeper into the energetic, psychological, and dimensional mechanics at play during the first encounter between category one twin flames, monadic twin flames, the karmic detourer, and the veil burner. So, this is a very powerful dissection of the moment divine love shatters the simulation. So this is where we're going to delve deeper into what's actually going on so that we can try to figure out a lot of things. So this is when you will notice that this wasn't your first meeting, it was your most recent detonation, explosion. So the frequency collision, like why is it designed to short circuit? So remember, the divine did not arrange this meeting for pleasantries or flirtation. It was coded as a soul quake, an engineered detonation of both parties within the karmic architecture. So, in other words, the veil burner's higher self knew the detourer would not be ready, and the detourer's soul signed up for the shock, not surrender. So, this wasn't courting, it was collapse. So, examples of veiled setups. Meeting during a crisis or just after heartbreak, symbolizing soul vulnerability. So, this could be after your karmic detourer goes into another relationship with another karmic, or this is when you suddenly have the news that he has gotten married to a karmic. So what actually happens is the soul vulnerability is expanded further at this stage. So there's brief eye contact in a crowd. So this could be through random bumping into each other, which initiates heart palpitations. Or this could be also when so this can happen in stages, like you're being introduced by a mutual karmic person whose sole mission was to facilitate the first touch point. So often the veiled setups can happen in different ways at different times. So you often meet your divine masculine when he is going through a very big crisis. So symbolically, not symbolically, it could be his whole world crashing or he's in between relationships. So in your field, what actually happens is that there's, the usual heart flutters, stomach flips, buzzing ears, a sensation of I know you without logic or context. So feeling that time has slowed down or sped up during this interaction. So remember, you were not supposed to understand the moment. You were supposed to split open from it. So what is the aftershock? So why does the light body fusion feels like a breakdown? So what actually is happening? So your soul field begins to tangle and merge in the upper dimensions. Dormant DNA strands begin resonating with each other's blueprint, and third eye and crown chakra portals widen rapidly, pulling in cosmic memory. And what this causes in the 3D? Crying without knowing why, sensations of being watched, psychically visited or followed, emotional spirals after seemingly minor moments. So another thing is dreams of each other, including past lives or other planets, interdimensional multiverses, etc. So I want to give you an example on light body impact. So, a whale burner may feel exhausted for days after the meeting, unable to eat, overstimulated in the heart and solar plexus. And the detourer, the karmic detourer, may feel overstimulated, sexually irritable, or experience chest tightness and repressed emotions surfacing suddenly. So, remember, this wasn't sexual tension, it was actually monadic twin flame data upload triggering cosmic soul fusion. So, why is the masculine retreating? So, let's explore the masculine panic code. So, for the karmic detourer, the feeling of losing control is the ultimate threat. So, your presence does not just attract him, it exposes him. What activates the inner split between his karmic mask and divine essence? Again, it goes down to ancient vows of celibacy, betrayal, or lost mission timelines. Past life guilt from having failed you or abandoned mission before. So, what are the signs of masculine retreat syndrome? Right? He vanishes right after a deep moment. He suddenly commits to someone karmic. So this is the stirring point. This is where everything starts to collapse, and he rationalizes the connection away, often say, oh, this isn't real, I barely know you, or he tries to kind of like make it sound that like it doesn't even matter. And this is from the experiences that my clients speak to me about, because I'm category 2, right? So with category 1, what happens is that it's so external, and often there are a lot of parallels to it. So like, let's use like real life cases. So for example, a masculine may be like, he doesn't like you, or he may say like, we are not compatible enough, right after you've had a very intense moment of bonding. Or one who spends hours with you and then flows and disappears without warning and then finds someone else. So think about it this way: the veil burner's curse, you have early remembrance but zero validation. So the veil burner often holds the memory first, but the catch is she's alone in the memory. This causes emotional overfunction. You're trying to prove the connection, holding space too early, too often, heartbreak from his confusion or coldness, questioning your own sanity or psychic gifts. So this is spiritual design. Your early knowing activates your spiritual freedom, sovereignty. It purifies your attachment to romantic outcome, and it tests your ability to stand in truth without external proof. So the energetic consequences are you become a vessel of divine remembrance. And this makes you magnetically irresistible and terrifying to his ego. So for example, he's like, she remembers everything, but he's still trying to even remember who he is or his own name. That's the contrast. So let's look a bit into the third energy grid, the birth, the collapse, and the recoding. So this is the moment the third energy grid is born when you connect. But if it's not supported, it buckles under the weight of unhealed karmic interference. So let's look at the stages. So there's activation, sudden creativity, sings, bursts of soul inspiration, and then there's collapse, emotional chaos, obsessive polarity, runner chaser loop, and then there's like being dormant, silence, grief, psychic longing, and then reactivation, depending on time, sometimes years later, months later. So this often happens through divine timing, shadow work, and mission realignment. So these are some of the signs of the third energy grid surge. Technical glitches when near each other, receiving messages or dreams after one meeting, others around you reacting like, hey, are you guys soulmates, making comments like that, or strangely or emotionally without cause. So the energy grid doesn't vanish, it enters sacred stasis, waiting for divine timing to reawaken. So the dimensional collapse syndrome, you don't just meet, you merge reality. So after the meeting, both parties, both you and your DM, enter a dimensional bleed through period. You start to experience soul timelines merging. You dream of his childhood, dreams of your past lives, overlapping people, situations, and synchronicities, emotional downloads that feel alien or out of place. So, common example, you suddenly cry over a karmic event you never experienced, but that was actually he. Suddenly, you feel like you're drowning. So, your DM is probably having an emotional explosion of some sorts. You may feel like he's watching you, or he may feel watched or invaded after one meeting because you have entered his field, or you meet someone who knows his, or or you meet like someone mutually, and he knows his family, example. So you're going to have all kinds of this kind of like things coming in. So what is actually going on is that entire dimensional architecture is restructuring. So that's why you start to wake up to the divinity behind each other. And you will notice that it is all about shattering illusions. And this happens when your worlds first touched. So that's why I need you to hear this very clearly. Your first meeting was in the beginning, it was the spark that exploded. So that's why, it might look ordinary, a conversation, so that's why a lot of you guys say that you guys meet through mutual friends, through the app, but there's a strange spark between you both that you never quite expected, because as the veil burner, you know that you're not only falling in love, you're remembering. And the detourer, he's like in soul panic, all this while he's treating relationships like they're social contracts. And suddenly the love of his life appears before him and he really doesn't know what to do. So that's why, like I was explaining, the light body shock occurs. He starts to collapse, because your light bodies are fusing, the energy grids are activating, ancient records start unlocking, galactic timelines start to bleed through. So that's why you are going through sleepless nights, crying without reason, feeling him in his chest, and you start questioning why he ran, why he disappeared. And why did he say this isn't real, or you're not compatible? Because he wasn't rejecting you. He was rejecting the divine timeline you activated. And when he saw you, he saw everything he couldn't control, and he ran from the death of who he used to be. So that's the reason why it is so important to go into a state of being and try to understand that it is all part of soul play, because it is meant to awaken each other so that you can activate the journey and become who you truly are without losing yourself, and vice versa, without him losing himself. So I hope you've enjoyed part 3 of the collision and catalyst when your worlds first touch, and what it actually means. So that's the reason why I wanted to go through the psychology, a little bit about the energies and the dimensional mechanisms that happens when you first meet. So with that, I'll continue on to part 4, and I hope you have enjoyed part 3. All right, take care and bye-bye.